500 guests shocked as in-laws mock her mother. What she whispered transformed everything. The day everyone had anticipated with excitement was finally here. Dressed in ivory silk, Sarah's heart raced as she stood center stage in the town's community hall, enveloped by 500 smiling faces. The local band played upbeat tunes, a feast of flowers surrounded her, and laughter danced through the air. Yet, beneath this picturesque scene lay a raw, unspoken tension between her family and Jake S. Her mother, Evelyn, stood tall yet burdened. The sacrifices woven into her life were overshadowed by Jake's wealthy lineage. Suddenly, amid the revelry, a sharp comment cut through. Isn't your mother's upbringing quaint? Jake's mom giggled, sending ripples of discomfort through the crowd. The laughter faltered, awkward glances exchanged. Sarah's heart sank, churning in her chest. She felt torn, one side tethered to her mother's steadfast values, the other longing for acceptance in this world of luxury and prestige. Evelyn, sensing Sarah's internal storm, leaned in with a gentle firmness. "Honey, it's not about the money," she whispered, "but the grit it took to get here. I've fought to give you the life you have. Remember that our strength is rooted in our journey." Those words, like a warm embrace, enveloped Sarah. Her mother's sacrifices echoed her beliefs, a reminder of the American dream that had been carved through their family's struggles. As the emotional current surged, Sarah felt a fire ignite within her. Every sacrifice, every lesson, bubbled to the surface, and with it, courage appeared. Taking a deep breath, she stood. The room hushed, all eyes locked onto her as she fought against her racing heart. "You may see wealth as a measure of worth," she began, "but I stand here today because of the strength my mother instilled in me." Faces shifted from confusion to intrigue. "We come from different worlds," she continued, "but our resilience is what matters. My mother taught me to fight for what's right, regardless of where we started." The atmosphere crackled with intensity, as guests exchanged glances, unsure whether to applaud or shrink in their seats. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As she spoke, the silence deepened, a collective breath held within the hall. Shifts in the seats echoed the dawning realization: wealth was not the only definition of success. The divide between their lives and values was stark and palpable. The challenge lingered in the air. Were they ready to reconsider their biases? In this crossroads of certainty and doubt, Sarah's heart raced, realizing how monumental this moment felt. Would her honesty bridge the gap between wealth and worth, or would it fracture her dream into shattered pieces? An impossible silence enveloped the hall, as all eyes hovered over her, holding their breath, waiting for a resolution that felt too monumental for a wedding day. A heavy silence hung in the air, and Sarah's heart thundered in her chest. She could feel the weight of 1,000 expectations pressing down on her shoulders. Would they understand what she was trying to say? Would her words have the power to shift perspectives? Just then, Jake stepped forward. His expression was a mixture of panic and determination. "Everyone," he called out, his voice cutting through the tension. "I think we all need a moment to appreciate the outstanding woman who raised Sarah." The room seemed to flutter with a collective exhale, as if Jake's intervention had temporarily lifted the weight of the moment. Sarah's eyes flickered to him, and gratitude mingled with anxiety. She never wanted this to turn into a spectacle, yet Jake had the courage to stand beside her. "Evelyn, you've done an incredible job," Jake continued, his voice steady. "You're not just Sarah's mother, you're an inspiration. It took hard work and sacrifice to raise such an amazing woman." The guests shifted uncomfortably, but Sarah sensed a change. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd, a sort of quiet acknowledgement of her mother's strength. Jake's words were like a starting pistol, igniting something that had been lurking under the surface. "Let us raise a glass to Evelyn," someone shouted from the back, the enthusiasm bold and spontaneous. Sarah's heart filled with warmth as glasses clinked, one after another. The room erupted in applause, a chorus of support building around Evelyn like a protective shield. Tears prickled at the corners of Sarah's eyes. She had felt so isolated, so split between her love for Jake and her loyalty to her mother. But here, in this moment, they were united. Her worlds were colliding in the most beautiful way. And as she looked at her mother, a smile breaking across Evelyn's face, Sarah realized she wasn't alone after all. "I want to tell you all something," she said, her voice clear and vibrant. "We are all a product of our backgrounds. Maybe we come from different places or even different financial realities, but what united us today is love. The love that has built families and communities." Faces softened, some guests nodding slowly as if reconsidering their previous judgments. Sarah felt emboldened, heart racing with each word that rolled off her tongue. "Let us not lose sight of what's important. Let us embrace our stories, the struggles and triumphs that have led us to this day." As laughter and cheers filled the air once more, a small corner of Sarah's mind still held a flicker of doubt. Was it really this simple? Was a few heartfelt words enough to break years of prejudice? Yet, the warmth from the crowd reminded her of the hope that lay in connection. But just as the atmosphere began to lighten, tension loomed again. Jake's mother rose, her face a mask of pent-up disdain. "That's all well and good, but can we trust that love can sustain a marriage when it lacks wealth?" Gasps followed her words, and Sarah felt her stomach drop again. Would this moment of unity devolve back into division? She searched for Jake's eyes, hoping to find strength there. What would he say next? Would he defend her, or would he falter under his mother's weighty gaze? As uncertainty spread through the crowd, the room seemed to brace itself for the next wave of confrontation, and Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The defining moment of her life was near, and she could only hope for a resolution. Would love conquer all, or would something deeper surface? The room buzzed with tension, every breath a dagger, every heartbeat a countdown. Sarah's eyes darted between Jake and his mother, feeling the chasm widen beneath her feet. In that instant, everything felt magnified. The chandelier swayed lightly above, the clinking of glasses now a distant echo, the smiles morphing into apprehensive frowns. It was suffocating. Jake's jaw clenched tightly, and for a moment, Sarah thought he might argue back against his mother's insensitivity. But then he paused. She could almost see the gears turning in his mind, the struggle evident on his face. Would he choose loyalty to his upbringing or solidarity with her? The thought of being left alone in this emotional storm made Sarah's heart ache. "Mom," Jake began, his voice low but steady. It cut through the heaviness like a knife. "That's not fair. Love is far more valuable than money." The silence that followed was sharp enough to slice through, leaving a void. The crowd still leaned in, waiting, unsure of what would come next. Sarah held her breath. But Jake's mother wasn't finished. "It may sound romantic, but love won't pay the bills. A marriage without stability is just a fairy tale." The dismissive tone set off ripples of murmurs through the room, making Sarah's chest tighten further. Evelyn, who had been watching quietly, rose slowly. Her expression was calm yet so full of conviction that it stole a collective breath. "I understand your concerns," she said, her voice measured. "I lived through struggles, and trust me, they shape you sometimes, they carry you." The tension in the room shifted ever so slightly, as if people were reconsidering what they had just witnessed. "Money doesn't define the love between two people," Evelyn continued, stepping closer to the spotlight. "What holds a family together is their ability to support each other in times of need." The crowd was enchanted. Eyebrows lifted, whispers turned to thoughtful nods. Sarah could feel the connection deepening, the distance between them closing. "I didn't give Sarah a silver spoon," Evelyn went on, her voice rising with passion. "But I gave her life lessons about love and perseverance. When you embrace obstacles, you learn to fight for what truly matters. As she spoke, Sarah felt a swell of pride and love for her mother. Here stood a woman who had shown her that wealth might fill plates, but love filled hearts. An old woman in the front, eyes glimmering with wisdom, spoke softly, "She's right. Money can come and go, but a good heart sustains." Jake beamed at Sarah, and in that instant, the promise of something profound blossomed between them, a shared understanding born of love and challenges. "Mom," Jake said, turning to his mother, "can't you see what she's trying to say? The best things in life aren't bought." The weight of the moment swelled, and Sarah felt a wave of hope wash over her, a fragile, beautiful thing that flickered like a candle in the dark. But just as Jake's mother opened her mouth to retort, a voice from the back whispered, "To truly know love, you have to let it in." That single remark seemed to hang in the air like magic, waiting for the crowd's collective acceptance or rejection. Sarah's heart raced. Would they rally together, or would this fracture redefine their future? The question loomed, and with it, clarity emerged like a little flicker of light. Would love indeed conquer everything, or would they reveal deeper wounds that couldn't be bandaged? Jake's mother finally closed her mouth, the disbelief etched across her face. The palpable tension shifted, as if the universe had pressed pause just to absorb the impact of the stranger's words. Sarah stole a glance at Evelyn, who hadn't moved an inch, but her calm demeanor felt like a protective barrier around them both. "Do you really believe that?" Jake directed at the voice, but the crowd was already murmuring, each member reflecting on the validity of what had been said. The voice belonged to an older man with thinning gray hair and kind eyes that sparkled in the dim light. "Love isn't just a fairy tale," he said softly. "It's a choice we make every day." The clamor subsided into a hush. Jake looked back at Sarah, and in that moment, she knew he was searching for reassurance. What if this didn't go the way they hoped? What if his mother's influence overshadowed them all? She reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly, grounding them both. "I learned that the hard way," the older man continued, "when I lost everything. My job, my savings, even my home. But my wife stood by me. That's what made us who we are today." He paused, letting the weight of his story settle as the crowd felt the ebb and flow of shared experiences. "See? Love has value beyond anything we can hold in our hands," Evelyn responded, her voice steady and vibrant. "True wealth lies in knowing you can lean on one another through storms." The atmosphere shifted again, a collective exhale releasing all the built-up murmurs and fear. People began nodding, some even whispering their own stories, experiences tethering them to this moment. Sarah felt a warmth creeping through her, igniting the hope she clung to, but then, like a storm cloud blocking the sun, Jake's mother straightened her back, her voice icy. "You're romanticizing hardship. What about reality? The reality is cold and indifferent." The setbacks loomed large, handling them rarely felt like simple acts of bravery against tidal waves. Still, Jake stepped forward, defending them. "But the truth is, those hardships can bring us closer. Mom, we're not talking about money. We're talking about commitment and trust. That's what carries us through." He turned, standing shoulder to shoulder with Evelyn and Sarah. She could see the resolve in his eyes, a fierce authenticity that lit a fire deep within her. Suddenly the crowd buzzed, not with fearful whispers, but louder affirmations, as if they were rallying behind him. "Yeah, it's the moments of struggle that build real character." A young woman piped up, her voice brimming with passion. "Isn't that what we want for our families?" More voices joined in, sharing their own similar journeys and the relationships that had emerged from diving into the depths together. Meanwhile, Jake's mother paled, disheartened but defiant. "What about the importance of security? You think love can replace paying rent or putting food on the table?" "Maybe it can't," Sarah found herself speaking before she fully processed the thought. "But love is what makes the hard days easier to bear." The sincerity behind her words sent a ripple through the room. Jake's mom opened her mouth but faltered for a moment, visibly torn. It was the first time Sarah had seen her hesitate since she entered the space. In that delicate lull, a small child near the back with wide eyes asked, "If love is stronger, why don't all families stick together?" The question hung thick in the air, and everyone turned towards Jake's mother, waiting for her to answer. Sarah's pulse pounded in her ears. Would they finally see this as a chance to bridge the divide? Jake's mother seemed to shrink, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. "Family is complicated," she began, then looked away, as if grappling with the untangled threads of her own experiences. With the whole room teetering on her response, Sarah realized they stood on the precipice of something monumental. Would this be an opening for healing, or would it simply unravel the fabric of everything they'd been fighting for? What if the truth is somewhere between love and reality? Sarah felt the urge to bridge the divide herself, feeling the notion resonate with urgency. Is it time to redefine what family and love really mean to us? The room held its breath, the lingering question hanging in the air like a thread waiting to be pulled. Tonight could change everything, if they dared to embrace the complexities that lay ahead. The silence deepened, wrapping around everyone like a heavy blanket. Jake's mother hesitated, staring into the distance as if searching for the right words. The crowd's collective hope shimmered, feeble yet persistent. Sarah felt her heart race, the urge to hold on to this moment pushing her forward. Complicated. Jake's mother echoed softly. That's one way to put it. But what does that even mean when it comes to family? Her shoulders slumped, and she cast a sidelong glance at Jake, her vulnerability surfacing. "Mom," Jake started gently, stepping a little closer, "family is built on understanding, love, and sometimes, the willingness to be uncomfortable." Jake's words came out in a rush, charged with emotion. "We've all experienced pain, but pushing it away doesn't make it disappear. It just festers." Evelyn's presence seemed to empower him, as she leaned slightly toward Jake's mother, her voice soothing but firm. "We are all messy. We're all imperfect. But if we can gather here, lean on each other, we have a chance to create something beautiful from all this mess." A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd, warm and energetic, giving Jake's mother little choice but to absorb it all. Sarah held her breath, catching glimpses of understanding flickering in the older woman's eyes. Suddenly, a loud clap echoed, startling everyone. It came from a man who stood near the back, excitement sparking in his eyes. "This is what we need. It's time we stop pretending everything's perfect. Families are about love and support through everything. We've all got scars, and they tell our stories." Sarah caught the spark in Evelyn's gaze as they exchanged a glance, both surprised and uplifted by the man's gospel of truth. The tension eased ever so slightly, giving way to something brighter. "Community." In a moment, other voices rang out. "We've all faced our demons." Another woman cried. "It's about sharing those burdens so we don't walk alone." Each voice, each story, built an atmosphere of resilience and possibility. With every shared experience, Sarah felt hope echoing through her chest, growing louder. They were all intertwined, connected through struggles that had shaped them into who they were. Families were created through the acceptance of life's chaos. Jake's mother shifted again, her brows furrowing but her demeanor softening. "It's not that I don't want to understand," she said, her voice trembling. I don't know how to be open about this. I'm scared that I'll fail." "Failing means you're trying," Jake reassured, stepping closer, catching her gaze fully. "It's okay to be scared. It's okay to talk about it. We don't have to have all the answers today, but we should start to find them together." Silence fell again, charged with the weight of his words. Sarah's stomach flipped with nerves as she watched, wondering if this would finally break the dam of Jake's mother's defenses. Would she step in and grasp the lifeline being thrown to her? Jake's mother took a shaky breath, squeezing her eyes shut for a moment before reopening them, revealing a glimmer of determination. "All I wanted was for you to be safe," she murmured, barely above a whisper. The room held its breath once more, a heartbeat of anticipation swelling. Sarah could barely contain her own emotions, praying that they would reach a new understanding, a bridge uniting them mother and son, love and reality. Safety can take many forms, Sarah spoke up, her voice firm and encouraging. Maybe it starts with being honest and willing to embrace our weaknesses, together. A shift occurred, the room tilting ever so slightly toward hopefulness, but it still hung in the air, waiting for an answer. Jake's mother looked at her son, and Sarah felt the weight of the moment swell. Would this be their turning point? A step toward the connection they'd all yearned for? Why don't we share what we're scared of? Jake offered suddenly, his voice steady and bright. Maybe that's the first step? And with that suggestion, it felt like the floodgates were about to open. Would they discover the power of vulnerability, or would it push them further apart than ever before? Jake's mother glanced around the room, her eyes darting from face to face. The crowd's energy buzzed with anticipation, as if they could feel the stakes rising. Sarah's heart thumped loudly in her chest. This was it, this could be the moment that changed everything. Scared? Jake's mother mumbled, almost to herself. What do I have to be scared of? Jake stepped forward, his voice strong. Mom, we all have fears. Trust me, sharing is okay. It's a step towards healing. We're in this together, remember? The crowd leaned closer, creating an intimate atmosphere surrounding them. One by one, people began to voice their fears as if encouraged by Jake's mother's hesitation. A middle-aged woman spoke up first, her voice shaky but resolute. I'm scared that my kids will repeat the same mistakes I did, that I'll fail them completely. Another voice followed, stronger this time. I fear that my past will always overshadow my present. It's exhausting. Each word seemed to lift the weight in the room, a collective sigh of relief hanging in the air. Jake's mother listened, her eyes softening further with each story shared. Sarah felt the warmth of camaraderie envelop them, sensing how life's burdens were lighter when shared. At last, it was Jake's mother's turn. She drew a deep breath, suppressing the urge to falter under the weight of vulnerability. I'm scared that I've lost you both. That all my attempts to keep you safe have actually pushed you away. Her voice cracked, surfacing the pain she tried for so long to hide. I don't want to lose you, Jake. I don't want my fears to ruin what little we have left. Time seemed to freeze. Jake stepped closer, their eyes locking with an intensity that surged through the crowd. Mom, Jake said softly, you haven't lost me. I need you. Safety isn't just about protecting, it's about connection. It's about being able to share the good and the bad, together. Tears glistened in his mother's eyes, hope battling with her deep-set worries. But what if I don't know how? She whispered. You start by trusting. We can find out together what it means. Jake's words sparked a bright glimmer of hope in the room. The atmosphere shifted, and others nodded, echoing agreement. Yeah. We're your family, after all, someone chimed in encouragingly, sending another wave of support through the audience. The conversation continued to blossom, more voices rising to share their fears and hopes. Stories bounced between them, solidifying bonds and prompting heartfelt reflections. It felt surreal, almost like magic. The walls around Jake's mother began to crumble. As laughter bubbled among the shared stories of fear, Sarah felt tears prickling her eyes. She was witnessing something profound, closeness woven through vulnerability. Then, unexpectedly, Jake's mother turned to Sarah. What about you? Caught off guard, Sarah hesitated. Me? I'm scared that I'm not enough to help. Not enough for Jake, and not enough for you. A silence enveloped her confession, but it was gentle. The community that had formed no longer felt like an audience, they were a support system now. A soft laugh burst from Evelyn as she wiped a tear from her cheek. We're all just doing our best. Jake's mother nodded, her expression shifting from anxiety to warmth. Okay then, let us do this together. I may not have all the answers, but I'm willing to start figuring it out. As palpable relief washed over the group, a sense of unity emerged. Jake's mother took Jake's hand, their fingers intertwined, a subtle but powerful gesture of connection. But just as the atmosphere seemed to settle into a newfound understanding, a loud crash from the back of the room startled everyone. A young boy had accidentally knocked over a chair, eliciting nervous laughter and breaking the tension. "What now?" Jake's mother murmured, glancing over her shoulder. "Sometimes, even messiness can bring us closer," Sarah replied, a soft smile on her lips. The stage was set for a new chapter, one that held both promise and unpredictability. But just as hope filled the air again, a voice piped up from the back. "Isn't it easier when you don't have to hide? Can we take this a step further and share what we truly want?" The crowd fell silent, the depth of that question hanging in the air like a challenge. What did they truly want? Was this only the beginning of their revelations? The room fell quiet, the weight of the question hanging heavily over the gathering. Eyebrows rose, and whispers rippled among the crowd as everyone processed what had just been asked. Jake's mother glanced at Jake, then back to the audience, sensing the shift in energy. Anxiety flickered across her face, but beneath it, curiosity sparked. "What do we truly want?" Jake's voice broke the silence, bringing back focus. He stepped forward, heart racing. "I think what we want is to be seen, for who we are, with all our flaws." A murmur of agreement flowed through the crowd. There was something powerful about acknowledging desires buried beneath fear and doubt. Exhausted from holding back, each person felt a new lightness, like a weight lifted and shared among them. "Can we try?" Jake's mother asked, her voice trembling but determined. "Can we open up and be honest about what we want from one another?" Sarah felt a rush of warmth at the thought. It could be transformative, a chance to foster understanding and acceptance. One by one, people began to speak. A young woman expressed her desire for independence, to pursue her dreams without the chains of expectation. An older man, his voice deep, shared his longing to reconnect with his estranged son, noting how time slipped away while he clung to pride. The candor inspired others. A teenage girl wished for genuine friendship, while a married couple shared their hope for deeper intimacy. Each story spilled forth, raw and unguarded, weaving a tapestry of vulnerability. Jake's mother stood still, heart racing. "I want," she started, hesitating as the words formed in her mind. She swallowed hard as she continued, "I want to fix what's been broken between us, to be the mother you need, to find ways to love you better." A collective sigh echoed as everyone felt the weight of her statement. Jake squeezed his mother's hand, and she could see the understanding blooming in his eyes. It was a small connection, yet infinitely strong. With the barrier breaking, Jake's mother felt lighter. She almost laughed at the miracle happening around her. "Isn't it incredible?" she exclaimed, a cheerful spark glinting in her eyes. "We're learning that vulnerability can bring us together." "That's exactly it." A voice erupted from the back. It was Evelyn, her enthusiasm infectious. "Being open is how we create the relationships we truly desire." The room responded with nods and murmurs of agreement, the atmosphere refreshing and electric. Just as they seemed to find a rhythm, Jake shifted the focus back. "But what happens next?" he asked, a hint of concern shadowing his features. "How do we take this honesty and turn it into real change?" "Let's make a plan," Sarah suggested, her confidence blossoming with each passing moment. "What if we commit to checking in with each other, sharing our needs, and being here for one another? No more hiding." Just as the group began discussing how to move forward, the loud crash of another chair interrupted them again, this time more pronounced. Laughter erupted, and everyone turned to see the young boy from earlier, his eyes wide with shock and apology. "That kid is going to be the breakout star of this evening," Jake joked, easing the tension with shared laughter that bounced from face to face, but the moment solidified something deeper. In the midst of laughter, every eye turned back to Jake's mother, who sensed a change within. She felt the collective desire, their resolve to connect and to grow, echo in every face before her. Then, Jake's mother met Sarah's gaze knowingly. "Okay, so we do this together. But promise me, we'll speak the truth even when it's hard. No more hiding? A chorus of affirmations rang out, enthusiasm mixed with a newfound sense of purpose enveloping the room. As they settled into this brave new dynamic, a new question sparked in the back of Sarah's mind, one that lingered just below the surface. How far would they need to go to truly understand each other? What would it take to push beyond their comfort zones? Little did they know, their next challenge was on the horizon. The energy in the room shifted again, charged with anticipation and an unspoken challenge. Jake's mother could feel it in the air, a sense that they were on the brink of something significant. She glanced around the faces before her, the excitement mingling with apprehension. Would they truly be able to share their truths and confront the raw emotions that lay beneath the surface? All right, maybe we start with something simple, Sarah suggested, her enthusiasm bubbling over. Why don't we go around and each share one thing we've been hiding from each other? Just one thing. Something we want to let go. Jake raised an eyebrow, the corners of his mouth twitching. You mean like our darkest secrets? Not necessarily dark, Sarah smiled, rolling her eyes. But perhaps something we've struggled to express or admit to ourselves. Nods erupted, the idea seemed strangely liberating. Jake felt the pulse of excitement but also anxiety thrumming in his chest. He'd never really talked about his feelings, let alone stood in a circle and bared his soul. But the atmosphere felt safe, perhaps for the first time. I guess I'll go first, a shy voice broke the silence. It was the teenage girl, her palms fidgeting in her lap. I feel invisible, like no one sees me. It's like everyone assumes I'm fine, but I'm not. I want to feel included, you know? The room fell still, her vulnerability painting a powerful image of isolation. The girl's honesty stirred something in Jake. I can relate, Jake found himself saying without thinking, his heart racing as he continued. I often feel like I don't matter, like people see only what they want to see. It's suffocating sometimes. A ripple of acknowledgement spread through the group. The confessions opened up space for others to chime in. A young father spoke of his fear of failing as a parent, an older woman shared her worry of being a burden to her children. With each shared vulnerability, it became clearer, they were not alone in their struggles. Then Jake's mother felt a tug inside her. It was time for her to speak, to become part of this tapestry. I guess I've held on to a lot of guilt, she began, her voice trembling. I always thought that being strong meant doing everything by myself. But I've realized that it has only isolated me and you, Jake. Tears glistened in her eyes. I want to lean on you. I want to be open about my fears. I want you to know that I need you just as much as you need me. A stunned silence followed. This was new territory, being open, vulnerable to open Pandora's box of emotions they had all kept so tightly sealed. Then, Evelyn spoke up. It's so easy to think we're the only ones struggling, she added, her voice soft but firm. But this moment, it's powerful. It changes everything. As the discussions deepened, something unexpected happened. There was a shift in the room's dynamics. Where walls had once existed, bridges began to be built. Yet, within the transformation, Jake felt the weight of lingering doubt. What if they spilled their hearts and still felt unheard? What if their truths pushed them away instead of drawing them together? Just then, a commotion from the back of the room caught everyone's attention. A sharp gasp punctuated the air. They turned to see the young boy again, standing abruptly. Who are those people, and why are they looking at us like that? He questioned, his innocence cutting through the heaviness like a knife. Jake's mother inhaled deeply, realizing that they hadn't truly faced the world yet. Could they truly carry this honesty outside these walls? What would happen when they faced real life, with judgment and misunderstanding lurking? Her mind raced as hope and fear collided. She looked at her son, feeling a surge of determination. They were ready for anything, weren't they? Maybe it's time to find out, Jake said thoughtfully, glancing back at the crowd. As they braced for the upcoming challenge, Jake's mother leaned over to Sarah, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Are we ready for what's next? Only one way to find out, Sarah replied, a smile dancing on her lips. The path ahead loomed large and uncertain. Would they stand strong together against the storm? What awaited them when they ventured beyond their circles of comfort? With questions swirling and hearts beating fiercely, they prepared to step into a brand new chapter, holding tightly to each other amidst the unknown. The murmur in the room grew, a hushed uncertainty as everyone's gaze lingered on the young boy. His innocent question had shattered the newfound connection, reminding them all of the world outside that still echoed with judgment. Jake could feel the weight of the moment settle like a stone in his stomach. Let us focus, Sarah encouraged, her voice determined. We're not just sharing, we're building something here. She looked around to encourage the group. In this safe space, let us embrace what comes next. Jake's mother straightened her back, a newfound resolve lighting her eyes. You're right, she said, louder than intended, slicing through the tension. We're not alone. That matters. But before we can face the outsiders, we must make sure we are connected as a unit. One by one, the others began to share again, revealing fragments of their lives that were once hidden. A middle-aged man spoke up about dreams he had sacrificed for safety. A woman bared the deep-seated fear of dying alone. Each confession, each trembling truth, held a vulnerability that hooked the others, binding them deeper into an unexpected alliance. Jake listened, amazed at the stories unfolding. The laughter, the tears, it was a rush of raw emotions swirling around the room. Each person took a step closer together. Their shared burdens became a thread weaving them into a tapestry of compassion. Yet even as they embraced this unity, shadows of doubt remained, gnawing at the edges of Jake's heart. What if this moment was just an illusion? What if real life was different? The boy interrupted again, breaking through the heavy air. But what if they don't like us for who we are? His question echoed, capturing a fear that lay beneath everyone's laughter. Jake took a deep breath. Well, maybe they won't, he replied softly, feeling the warmth in his chest. But we can't change who we are. We can't keep hiding. It's time to show people something real, something genuine. His mother leaned in, visibly moved. And if we stand together, we can face anything. It was a quiet affirmation but resonated loudly, fueling their resolve. Jake felt the warmth spread through the group, gathering strength each time a new voice joined in. Let us show them that we are here, vulnerable yet strong, Sarah urged, her voice steady. A chorus of agreement rose in the room as hearts beat in unison, a promise that they would face whatever was next, together. As the group shared more about their fears and dreams, Jake noticed something shift in the atmosphere, a palpable energy sparking with hope. Every confession added weight to their bond, making it difficult to imagine falling apart now. Then, just as they reached the peak of courage, someone from the corner called out with disbelief. What if they reject us? What if it ruins everything? The voice came with a quiver, mirroring Jake's own fears. Jake felt the tension return like a cold gust. The world outside seemed more daunting now, every face waiting to judge them. He stood up, the noise fading as he spoke. What if we embraced the risk? We can't control what anyone thinks of us. This is what matters. What's inside us? The boy piped up again, voice small but thoughtful. So you're saying we just keep being ourselves? Yes. Jake replied, enthusiasm pouring into his tone. Being ourselves is what connects us. If they don't see that, it's on them, not us. Something shifted, a collective breath uniting them. The room felt lighter despite the uncertainty ahead. They were standing on the edge of something powerful. Suspense hung in the air, poised to let them leap into a brave new world. The question remained, an echo reverberating through their minds. Were they prepared to face the harshness that awaited them outside? But even as those doubts lingered, hope flickered like a candle in the dark. As they exchanged apprehensive glances, the young boy blurted out one last question: what if we're not enough? What they didn't realize was that the answers lay just beyond their fears, waiting to unveil an even greater challenge, a challenge that would test the strength of their bonds like never before. The air buzzed with an electric tension, still swirling with the embers of vulnerability each person had sparked. Jake stood resolutely, heart pounding as he pushed past the hesitation weighing down the room. Being ourselves is what connects us, he declared, voice strong. If they don't see that, it's on them. The crowd began to murmur, glances darting between each other, the weight of a shared understanding dawning. Slowly, but surely, the panic of rejection morphed into gentle courage. Then, from the back, a voice rose, a tremble in it yet solid. What if we're not enough? It was the young boy again, probing with innocent concern. Jake felt a swell of compassion. The moment felt like a mirror reflecting every sharp edge of uncertainty they all carried. What if I told you that enough is not about perfection? It's about showing up and trying, he replied earnestly, looking about the room for solidarity. If we do it together, we are more than enough. We will tackle what's out there. Together. A gentle applause broke out, lifting the weight of doubt into something palpable, hope flowing through the cracks of fear. Faces brightened as they resonated with Jake's sentiment, eyes sparkling with a renewed sense of belonging. Evelyn leaned in closer, feeling the collective heartbeat of love filling the air. We have each other. That matters. Love makes us enough. Her voice was steady, the words echoing as murmurs of agreement continued to crescendo around the room. Let us commit to this, Sarah suggested, the warmth bubbling in her chest. Let us promise each other that we will speak up even when it's hard. Jake's mother nodded, her features softening into a smile. Yes. We can build our connections into something real, and together, we can face the noise of the outside world. As they looked at one another, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose in the room, a promise emerging that they could forge ahead bravely. Each of them had faced their battles, borne the weight of vulnerability, and shared their stories. This was their strength, and they were ready. Listen up, everyone, Sarah proclaimed, raising her voice slightly, tinged with enthusiasm. What about we seal this moment with a promise, something we can hold on to when times get tough? Nods of affirmation rippled through, growing louder, gathering momentum as they connected with each other's eyes. Let us say it out loud, Jake urged, anchoring them to the moment. Together on three. Together on three. They echoed back, hearts racing. 1, 2, 3. We are enough. The declaration roared like the winds of change filling the room, each voice building upon the last, harmonizing into something divine. Laughter erupted as some jumped in celebration, others hugged tightly, feeling like solace had pulled them all deeper into an embrace. With tears welling in her eyes, Jake's mother turned swiftly to her son, overcome by the moment. I'm so proud of you, she whispered, holding him tight, feeling her heart swell with connection. Thank you for guiding me to this, she added softly. Thank you for letting me, Jake replied, filled with an overwhelming gratitude that washed away shadows of past constraints. As the night unfolded, something magical transpired. The music resumed, the dining room glimmered, and laughter reverberated through the air, transforming it all into an epilogue of discovery, not just for Jake, but for everyone who found solace, acceptance, and love. The entirety of the evening had been a journey into vulnerability and hope, a beautiful mosaic of shared experiences reminding them that bravery emerges not from the absence of fear, but in the arms of love. As they poured their hearts into the new chapter before them, each person knew they weren't just allies, they were family. The moment lingered like an echo, and despite the world outside, they stood resilient together, ready for whatever came next. Let us tackle tomorrow one step at a time, Sarah suggested as they raised their glasses, toasting to unity and healing. Here's to us, for understanding that strength comes from being real. Cheers! They shouted, and just like that, the fraying bonds of fear melted into the warmth of family, as they stepped boldly into the unknown, hand in hand, ready to face whatever life would bring, together. As this powerful story concludes, don't forget this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Real fans, real stories, real connections. Together, we can inspire others to embrace their true selves.